If you're just joining us, this is the fourth and final segment of our program. In 2015, BMW told the world that the future was electric and that they were going all in. While other automakers made similar announcements in the years that followed, BMW made good on its promise. First with the i3, and then with the amazing R8. Oh my goodness, that thing was unreal. But they didn't stop there. More vehicles followed, and what had once been a money pit for most automakers is now a profit center for the brand. And I want to take a minute and talk about this, because up till very, very, very recently, most automakers looked at a quandary. They looked at the billions of dollars they were going to have to spend to develop a brand new processes, brand new frame system, chassis, suspension system, a whole new vehicle from the ground. We're talking billions of dollars, new plants, new equipment, new supply chain. Everything's new. And that's whether you are a traditional manufacturer or a manufacturer coming into the market for the first time. Elon Musk, love him or hate him, he showed the way. He is the poster child for electric vehicles. I will even go on a limb and say, if it wasn't for that man, there'd be no EV industry in the world, let alone the United States.
That man in the government.
If he hadn't taken the risk, it would not matter.
Absolutely.
Yes, DARPA.
Got to incentivize risk.
You got to incentivize risk. Absolutely. Absolutely. But here we are. Most automakers, and Stellantis being one of them until recently, who said, oh, we've got the Fiat 500e, but we lose money on every one of them. And a former chairman of the company said, please don't buy the car. He actually said that. Sergio said that about the Fiat 500e. We'll be talking in a future show about Stellantis' other problems, and I will definitely get back to that. But in the case of BMW, being a marquee brand, a boutique brand, they don't build millions of cars. Now, they build hundreds of thousands of cars, but they're not GM, they're not Ford, they're not Toyota, they're not Volkswagen. So for them to say we're going all in, number one, and the fact that they're an upscale brand, number two, means that they better get it right the first time. And I'm pleased to say that they did, and here it is. The BMW Group reported that it more than doubled its sales of electric vehicles in the first quarter of this year, 2021, as the German automaker's revenues increased by 18.9% and their net income increased 5 times, topping $3 billion. I just want to let that settle. Our strategy is based on retaining a keen focus on providing attractive, high-tech products that are destined to shape the changing world of mobility going forward. Translation, when you no longer call it an EV, when you no longer call it a hybrid, when it's just another vehicle, when you call it by its model name, then it's arrived because you bought it for what it can do, not what it is. And I think we're getting there real quick because I just drove a Toyota like that. That I would buy the vehicle not because it was a hybrid, although it was an all-wheel drive hybrid. It was so fast. It was so seamless, and it was so good. It did not matter to me. That is where we got to get to. Now, BMW has a variety of brands. BMW, Mini, Rolls-Royce. And believe it or not, the BMW has set a goal of increasing their EV sales by an average of more than 50% per year for the next 4 years. By 2025, they expect to have 2 million fully electric, not hybrids, fully electric vehicles on the road worldwide for all of their brands. The strong demand, and we're talking now, for plug-in hybrids and fully electric vehicles contributed substantially to the sales performance in the first quarter, with deliveries more than doubling compared to the same quarter 1 year earlier, as sales totaled, this is for the first quarter this year for BMW across their brands, 70,207 electrified vehicles during the first quarter. Not all the cars they sold, just the electric cars they sold. And did I mention This is not a multi-million volume manufacturer. Did I also mention that they build luxury cars, performance cars? These are not vehicles that you're going to pay $20,000 to own.
They got a couple coming out soon.
Yeah. And they're selling them. And best part, they're making money. And we've actually reported on BMW earlier that they are so serious about sustainability that they're digging deep into their supply chain to turn all the suppliers into green manufacturers. I don't know if you remember that. They were talking about how steel is made. I mean, they were going to all the major culprits of pollution and emissions and taking the bull by the horns and just going all in. So BMW ain't just talking the talk, they're walking the walk. And that's pretty cool. They said that worldwide deliveries of BMW brand vehicles were up 36%, Mini up 16%, and get this, Rolls-Royce handmade bespoke vehicles up 61.8%. The average price of one of these things is up over $400,000.
That's crazy.
With China, the United States, and the Asia Pacific contributing most of the growth. Somebody's making the money, Chase. It's not us. Somebody's making it. Did I mention Rolls-Royce was up 61.8%? The greatly improved level of revenue and earnings was driven by a combination of higher sales volume figures across all regions of the world, particularly in China, and improved selling prices, which means they were able to raise prices in a down market during a pandemic and make money. You only do that when you have the vehicles people are willing to pay for. And that is kind of my thing right now. People saying, oh, the public will never buy an electric vehicle. Oh, the public will never buy a hybrid. And my feeling on hybrids now, having spent some time with a hybrid minivan, have changed. And when we do that review, I will explain in detail why. Because it was probably one of the most amazing experiences I've had behind the wheel of anything I've ever driven. I was just that impressed.
That's exciting.
I considered it not a minivan, but a mini limo.
Mini limo.
Oh, the thing was smooth. Yeah, it was just amazing. But BMW is bringing a bunch of products to market. They were the first to go out there when nobody else was saying this. They looked at emissions requirements, fuel economy requirements coming in the future, and they had to make decisions. Now, Chase and I have talked about at length about how long the lead times are in the auto industry. It's not something that you can do, you read about it today and you can implement it before the end of the year. You're talking 3, 5, depending on systems, maybe 10 years of development and engineering and design to get there. You're talking about a supply chain. You're talking about plants, workers, everything. It takes all of that. And BMW made the grade.
And that brings us to the end of our program.